For decades, he slept alone. Then a desperate woman asked to share his bed. I reckon a man don't truly know loneliness until he's stared down 40 winters in Wyoming, each one colder than the last, with nothing but the creak of his own cabin and the ghosts of promises past to keep him company. My name's Elias Thorne, and for decades, I'd slept alone on that narrow bed in my log cabin outside Blackwood Ridge. Built it myself from pines I felled with my own axe. Back when I thought hard work could fill the hollow spots in a man's soul. But that night in December 1885, when the blizzard hit like God's own wrath, everything changed. The wind screamed through the cracks, snow lashing the windows like buckshot. And then came the pounding frantic, like a soul-begging entry from hell itself. I swung open the door, lantern high, and there she lay. Crumpled on my porch like a broken doll, frost clinging to her lashes, her breath shallow as a whisper. Amelia Hayes, the widow schoolmarm everyone in town talked about in hushed tones. Desperate, half-frozen, she looked up at me with those emerald eyes and croaked, "Please, ... let me share your fire, your bed if need be." I can't go on. I hauled her inside, the door slamming shut against the gale, sealing us in a world shrunk to these 4 walls. 40 years I'd guarded my solitude like a sacred oath, ever since I was 15 and kneeled by Ma's deathbed. Rebecca Thorne was a tough pioneer soul, midwifing babies through blizzards and scraping by after Pa got himself gutted in a saloon fight over some floozy. With her last breath, she gripped my hand and made me swear, "Elias, don't go chasing skirts like your pa. Save yourself for true love, the kind that lasts." I promised, and that vow shaped me into the man.
Oh.
Blackwood. Ridge whispered about the untouched cowboy, the chased wrangler. They'd snicker at the general store. Watch me tip my hat politely to the saloon girls and look away when Widow Jenkins bent too low serving coffee. But they didn't see the nights I lay awake, staring at the rafters, wondering if true love was just a fairy tale for fools. Amelia stirred as I laid her by the hearth, stoking the flames till they danced high. Her raven hair, shot through with silver-like veins of quartz and rock, tumbled free as I peeled off her sodden wool coat. She was 48, folks said, but her beauty unfolded slow, like a cactus bloom under a harsh sun, resilient, striking with curves that even the cold couldn't hide. 5 years widowed, her husband Tom taken by the consumption, leaving her to teach the young'uns in that one-room schoolhouse while dodging gossip. Too alluring to trust alone, they'd say, especially with men like Harlan Voss circling. Harlan, that grizzled old coyote, owned the Silver Spur Saloon and thought his money bought him rights to anything pretty. Her eyes fluttered open fully now, locking on mine with a mix of gratitude and something deeper vulnerability that cracked my armored heart like a rifle shot. "Mr. Thorne. Elias. Thank you." I rode out to the Wilkins homestead. Little Josie was burning up with fever, no doc in sight. Saved her, but the storm, ... My horse Daisy went down in a ravine. I twisted my ankle bad, fell into a crevasse, thought the snow would bury me alive. Her voice trembled, and I could picture it, the blinding white. The hidden drops that could swallow a soul whole. Hypothermia sneaking in like a thief. First danger she'd faced that day, and it near claimed her. I nodded, fetching my oversized flannel shirt and wool socks. "Change into these. I'll turn round." The rustle of fabric behind me set my imagination ablaze, her silhouette in the firelight, shadows playing over skin I'd only dreamed of in forbidden thoughts. When I faced her again, she stood there transformed. My shirt hanging to her knees, socks high on her thighs, hair loose in waves that caught the glow like midnight silk. We shared a meager supper of beans and hardtack. The cabin's single room closing in, intimate bed against the wall. Tables scarred from years of solitary meals, my rifle by the door. The blizzard intensified, promising for days of isolation, snow piling like graves outside. Silence wrapped us, broken by the fire's crackle, amplifying stolen glances. Her presence stirred long-buried desires, a hunger I'd suppressed for decades, making my chest ache with what-ifs. "Why me?" I asked finally, voice rough as gravel. "Why push through to my place?" She sipped coffee, eyes distant. Saw your light through the whiteout, like a beacon. Folks say you're honorable, Elias, alone but kind. She paused, then softer. They whisper about you. The untouched cowboy? Is it true? The question hung like smoke. I could have lied, but something in her own loneliness mirroring mine unlocked the truth. Vow to my ma. Dying words. Wait for true love. Been 40 years of keeping it. The confession tumbled out like a dam breaking, exposing the torment, duty versus desire, the silent prison of my isolation. Amelia reached across, her hand on my calloused one, sending sparks up my arm. That's a heavy burden. Honorable, but ... lonely. Her empathy bridged our worlds, hinting at mutual healing, a tender connection blooming in the storm's grip. But trouble, don't wait for romance. Come the next afternoon, as the wind howled fiercer, hoofbeats cut through the din riders, braving the white hell. I peered out, spotting Harlan Voss and his two thugs, Billy Knox and Red Harlan, bundled like outlaws. Harlan, 50 and mean as a rattler, had been hounding Amelia for months. Flowers, unwanted visits, his obsession plain.
Ow.
With her horse's trail leading here, he'd come sniffing. I grabbed my rifle, stepping out into the gale. Voss.
What?
Brings you to my spread in this mess? Harlan spat. Eyes narrowed. Hayes. Her mare's dead yonder. Tracks end here. You plain house with my intended thorn? The chaste wrangler, finally sniffing around a widow's skirts. Insults flew like bullets, accusing me of impropriety. Calling Amelia used goods, rage boiled in me, protective and fierce. Apologize, or this ends bad. He laughed, hand dropping to his holster. The standoff tense, snow swirling, breaths fogging. I drew first, rifle steady as iron, dropping Billy with a shot to the leg, the boom, echoing like thunder. Red cleared leather, but my next round shattered his gun hand. Harlan's pistol was out when I grazed his ear, blood mixing with snow. Back off or join the snow, I growled, voice embodying raw, cowboy grit masculine, unyielding. They retreated, Harlan snarling threats. But the victory awakened something primal in me. No longer the passive vow-keeper. I was a man defending what felt like his. Amelia watched from the window, rushing out after. You risked everything, she whispered, bandaging a nick on my arm, her touch electric. Worth it, I said, pulling her close. The push-pull began, desire tugging, doubt pushing back. My vow loomed. Societal whispers echoed in my head. That night, danger struck again. Low growl, outside starving wolves, driven mad by the storm, circling the cabin. My livestock panicked in the barn. I ventured out, rifle ready, the pack lunging from the shadows. One clamped on my boot, another leaped for my throat. Pistol blazing in the moonlight, I felled two with precise shots, blood staining the drifts, my roar echoing defiance against nature's wrath. Wounded but alive, I staggered back, Amelia tending my gashes with steady hands. Don't leave me, she pleaded, her refusal to falter, stirring deeper emotions. We talked through the pain, her guiding me past my inexperience with words of understanding. What am I to you, Elias? She asked, eyes searching. Everything, I confessed. We confronted our past, Sir Grief, my isolation. The kiss came then, tentative, then consuming like wildfire, years of restraint shattering. She asked to share my bed, not just for warmth, but connection. Her guidance was patient. Our union, a reverent dance of healing. Tender yet wild in the firelight, redefining love beyond purity. But Harlan's shadow lingered. Morning brought illness me, doubled over, poisoned well from his spy's sabotage. Amelia refused to leave my bedside, nursing me through fever dreams, her steadfastness creating suspense. Was it poison? Who betrayed us? Paranoia built, guesses swirling as I weakened, doubting my strength. Recovering, I tracked the culprit to a hideout. The shootout was brutal, bullets ricocheting off rocks. Close quarters wrestling in gunsmoke, my grit overpowering in a haze of masculine fury. Revelations exploded, Harlan's plot, his obsession driving the betrayal. Amelia confronted him in town later, accusations flying, nearly fatal as he chased her on horseback. Then the avalanche storm triggered, boulders tumbling like judgment. We fled on my stallion, dodging death in a heart-pounding escape, the roar deafening. Harlan ambushed amid the chaos, a raw duel ensuing, fists and lead, my resolve turning. The tide in a climactic burst, leaving him wounded and fleeing. As skies cleared, vulnerability dawned. We awakened entwined, regrets banished. No secrets, Amelia demanded, defying judgment. Inc. I pledged public courtship. Kneeling amid the ruins, marry me. Her yes burst like sunlight. Harlan fled Wyoming, his empire crumbling. Blackwood Ridge shifted, some inspired by our defiance of age and purity taboos, others curious. 7 months later, in the sunlit chapel, we wed, her lace dress glowing, vows sealing our triumph. I realized Ma's vow was for love's discovery, not solitude. Together, we faced future tempests with unbreakable unity. Our tale a beacon of healing, courage, and love's power in the Wild West. Decades alone. But now, sharing a bed meant sharing a life redeemed whole.